On this day, 5 years ago, Britain was transformed for the better. Whether or not you supported Brexit, it was a watershed moment. Finally, after years of being ignored and preached to and degraded, the great British public took control of our destiny. We said to hell with the establishment, to hell with our pathetic political leaders, to hell with the BBC and most of the broadcast media who mocked us and treated Brexit supporters like numbskulls who didn't know what they were really voting for. To hell with the doom merchant so-called business brains who told us economic chaos and carnage was about to descend on the UK for claiming back its sovereignty. We saw through all of that. I give credit to Remainers who quickly accepted the result of the referendum and wanted to move on. But to the elite who tried to overturn the biggest democratic vote in British history, shame on you. The distrust that created with the public will take years to overcome. And Project Fair, remember, has since been proven to be a pack of lies. In fact, the only scary thing would have been remaining in the EU and allowing the European Medicines Agency to be in charge of our vaccine rollout. The way Dame Kate Bingham and her vaccines task force was able to kick off the most successful vaccine rollout in Europe has been the ultimate example of why Brexit is the best thing that could have happened to Britain. 5 years on, though, I do think it's worth a timely reminder of what the official government forecast, I repeat, the official government forecast said Brexit would cause. This is one of them. It would take a decade or more to negotiate a new agreement with the EU. That was false. The official government forecast said the effect of this profound shock would be to push the UK into recession. False. We actually performed better than the Eurozone in the 6 months following the vote, and were not plunged into recession. They also said a vote to leave would immediately lead to an increase in the premium lending to UK businesses and households. Also false. The official government forecast also said unemployment would increase by around 500,000. False. The opposite happened. 1 million jobs were added. The list goes on. Project Fair was actually just a whole bunch of untrue smears. But today, the government must be bold and brave when it comes to our delayed Freedom Day. They must allow us to rip off the masks once and for all. They must cancel the 1 metre plus social distancing rule once and for all. It's clear to me that those moves are absolutely necessary if our decimated events industry is to survive. That's been made obvious in an internal economic impact assessment produced by the government's events research programme and leaked today to Politico's Playbook. As the Politico Playbook reported, the good news is the pilot events didn't find a serious spike in COVID transmission. At one point, there were just 15 cases across the whole programme. The bad news is the modelling found an effect that keeping any measures would cost the economy billions and see many businesses close. All the rules must go. The focus must now move towards personal responsibility above anything else. Give businesses an opportunity to survive this. As I've been saying for weeks, the government messaging must change too. As a cabinet source told the Daily Mail today, it's all over, even if not everyone in government has realised it yet. The link between cases and deaths is broken. Here's the thing, continuing with face masks or attendance caps or alcohol bans would see 30% wiped off for the events industry compared to its 2019 levels. It would be particularly disastrous for arts venues, cinemas and business events that would see 40% wiped off its value. But hit hardest would be nightclubs and live music, plummeting by 63% of their 2019 value. Mark Harper, chair of the COVID recovery group, is right to suggest the government may not have published those figures because, in his words, it would have demonstrated that we could have safely opened on June the 21st.
Normally when the government doesn't publish something, it's normally because it's bad news and it's trying to hide it away. I've got a very strong suspicion that this set of data is fantastically positive. It must be ready for publication because it must have been prepared for last week when Step 4 was due to be announced. So it must be ready to go. My fear, Mr. Speaker, is it demonstrated the opposite of the decision the Prime Minister announced last week.
The government keeps saying it's about data and not dates. Well, the data is now pointing in only one direction. The same goes for the devastated travel and tourism industry, which has hosted a day of action today to demonstrate its plight. The government has made a dire situation even worse with its maddening amber list, which makes us an outlier compared to other European countries when it comes to travel. Again, the data is clear here. Of the over 23,000 arrivals from amber list countries, not one brought back a new COVID variant. As a result, quarantine-free travel to amber list destinations must be immediately introduced. And far, far more countries should be put on the green list tomorrow. The willful destruction of an entire industry, an industry which is worth £16 billion a year to the British economy, an industry which is responsible for 221,000 jobs, a willful destruction of an industry like that without the public health data to back it up is no longer acceptable or moral.